Hey, I'm Mike and welcome to Retro Boost. Recently I've done a bunch of comparison videos of like the RetroTINK 2X Pro and 5X Pro versus a bunch of lesser priced upscalers and so on. And as I was putting all those together, the thought occurred to me, I've never had so much footage from either of these two devices in recent time, so why not do some additional footage and then we can do an updated comparison of the 2X Pro and the 5X Pro. Back when the 5X Pro first came out, I did like a side-by-side of a bunch of game consoles versus the 2X Pro, and back then, that's when my setup was far more simple compared to where it is now, so it was mostly just whatever the standardized cable options are for each of those consoles, so mostly composite for the pre-Xbox PS2 kind of consoles, still had composite for GameCube at the time, and then component for everything else that it was possible to do. But since then, I've done a lot of work on my game collection, my game console setup rather. My game collection too, although has grown significantly since the channel began. That's interesting to also see. But my game console setup has come a long way since those days. So now pretty much everything except for the Xbox itself is running with some kind of shielded component cable or something like that. All through my Extron Switches, all upgraded. I've gotten component cables from HD Retrovision and RetroGamingCables UK for like my Super Nintendo, my Sega Genesis, stuff like that. So the hardware and the setup has all come a very long way. So definitely wanted to do like an updated 2X Pro, 5X Pro thing, because now we can see them side by side running these alternative cable types and see how the 2X Pro compares running with those better cables and how the 5X Pro compares as well. Additionally, the 5X Pro has come a very long way since it first came out in terms of what it can do. Firmware updates, it's been a lot. There's so much more the 5X Pro can do now than it could at launch. You didn't have the ability to custom scale and crop images to fit them better on screen. You didn't have the ability to do like all this crazy advanced stuff with scanline generation. They added high dynamic range, variable refresh rate support. So much is added, so that's another reason to kind of revisit this as well, because now like the peak settings for some things have changed. There's all kinds of new formats and output resolutions as well. So we're going to take another look at the 2X Pro versus the 5X Pro. First, let's talk about the devices a little more in detail and go over some of their differences and some things to expect. So let's take another look at our competitors here with this comparison. We have the 2X Pro and the 5X Pro. The 2X Pro is a 480p line doubling device that takes either 240p or 480i signals, doubles them to 480p, and then provides you HDMI output, which is very convenient because most modern day TVs don't have composite or mostly any analog inputs at all on them anymore. So it's a bonus just to have the conversion, but to have it also clean up and prep the image before it gets to your modern display, even better. The 5X Pro takes that and takes it to a whole nother level. Instead of line doubling to 480p, the 5X Pro is a 1080p upscaler. It'll take whatever you give it, and it'll give you a variety of output resolutions. When the device first launched, it was all different variations of 1080p based upscaling, but now we have all kinds of alternative output modes. You can downscale it and do like 240p down conversion, or you can have it do 720p or 480, all that kind of stuff. But you can also have it output in even higher resolutions now, 1920 by 1440 and 2560 by 1440 are some of the other alternative options. Although some of these have come and gone with firmware updates. It depends which version you're on, and a lot of televisions may not be able to accept some of those. Like my television can't accept those 2560 by 1440 option, or the 1920 version for that matter. My monitor can, but my television can. So like certain situations you may not be able to take full advantage of that. Additionally, the 2X Pro and 5X Pro both have some kind of post-processing options. The 2X Pro has two different filters plus scanline generation. It has a smooth filter that makes 3D gaming look a lot smoother. It's really good for N64, GameCube, consoles like that. The smooth filter really helps with. It also has the original blocky filter, which is good for two-dimensional content. And then also scanline generation as well to kind of simulate the CRT experience. The 5X Pro has all of that as well. It got a smooth filter as part of an update that happened post-launch, and then it had scanline generation, but that was greatly expanded upon in a future update. In addition to the filters and scanlines, though, the 5X Pro can do so much more. You can customize and crop and scale the image on screen to best fit it to your display, because sometimes certain output modes may cause the image to go beyond the edges or just a little bit more than it should. You can now correct that. Additionally, there are all kinds of other options like messing with sharpness, softness, black levels, gamma, color saturation, all kinds of things. Additionally, they added the ability to toggle high dynamic range signal flagging, which basically tells your display that the 5X Pro is a device giving it high dynamic range, which would then flip on HDR mode for that particular display. Because televisions and whatnot, they operate in either SDR or HDR mode, and if you don't give it an HDR signal, there are some features that aren't available to you. Modern, like really modern TVs, at least like higher end ones, will have like customized picture modes and all kinds of things when the signal is HDR. But the biggest benefit to turning on HDR is you can significantly brighten and make the image pop when using scanlines, because scanlines compared to an image without scanlines on these devices is a lot darker. When you pop HDR mode on, you're able to significantly increase the brightness and mess with the color saturation and create a very impressive image from consoles like, say, the Nintendo NES. I really enjoy what scanlines with that added brightness do to the image. It's awesome. I don't do scanline stuff a whole lot, but the NES is one that I've really enjoyed messing with it for, and high dynamic range ability for that has made it even better. There's also variable refresh rate support, which is cool because not all retro games are like locked to a particular frame rate. It kind of depends. Some of them are variable between 30, 60, or maybe lower. Some are locked to 60. I think F-Zero X on N64 is an example of that, but it depends. So being able to mess with these kind of things is really interesting. As far as the signal types that are supported, or rather cable types, the 2X Pro accepts composite, component, and S-Video, which is a great variety of inputs there. That gives you a lot of flexibility what you plug into it. S-Video in particular is a lot better than composite, and S-Video cables for most consoles are not expensive or hard to get, so it's a great way to get a better picture out of that device. The 5X Pro takes component, composite, S-Video, and also Scart, which is great because some consoles like the PlayStation 1, you can get better picture out of it if you use Scart cables, and for like an NTSC console, that doesn't require modding the console itself. Same for like the Super Nintendo, even the original Xbox, you can use Scart for. Although for the Xbox, you may not want to, because then you lock yourself out of being able to do resolutions like 720p or 1080i, which the Xbox does support. Scart can't handle that. Last important thing worth mentioning as we do some demos here is the 5X Pro, in addition to all the other things I've mentioned, color range is one of the things you can also toggle between limited and full. Sometimes you may notice that the footage, or not really footage, but gameplay that you're experiencing doesn't look quite right in terms of like darks, quality of dark detail, stuff like that, and you may want to mess with the color space. Well, color range, not color space, different thing. That's your TV. Color range. Some examples of this, I had to mess with that when I was playing with the Xbox back when I first had the 5X Pro, but it came up again during this comparison. So if you look at this kind of preview of what's to come here, here's footage of the Power Rangers game on Sega Genesis, 2X Pro on the left, 5X Pro on the right, and you can see how the 5X Pro has like deep inky black and the 5X Pro doesn't. Well, that's because when you change the color range, it'll basically fix that. So some consoles or some games will be like that, and they require that like little bit of extra setting adjustment to occur, and then bam, it like pretty much fixes it. So just one thing worth noting. So came across that when I was doing the footage. Like, it looked fine on the preview, but then going back and editing it, I was like, whoa. And it's just one of those examples of where you got to mess with the color space, which is cool because you can do that with the 5X Pro, both internally if it's just the device you have, but also when you're doing capture, you can mess with the capture or the 5X Pro. There's a lot more options there. So the 5X Pro offers a ton, but how does that translate to what it looks like? That's what we're going to find out now. So now that we've kind of gone over the need to know of all the devices, we'll get into the comparisons now. So since I was already sitting on all that footage from the comparisons against the AV to HDMI and the Porta HDMI upscaler, we're going to do all of that. We'll do Super Nintendo, N64, and GameCube comparisons using Composite, S-Video, and Component. We'll also do PlayStation 2 Component, Xbox Component, and then Wii as well. In addition to the new stuff, we got the Genesis footage I mentioned, and also PlayStation 1. Now, PlayStation 1 is going to be interesting because that one I am using a Scart cable for, but the way that that actually hooks up to my console collection is that it runs through a RetroTINK RGB2COMP device, which actually lets it run Component in my Extron Switches. So that's going to be a chance for the 2X Pro to get something that I normally wouldn't be able to get without like modding the console or having like a different version of the console that would allow you to run this kind of quality of signal into it, which is awesome. So that's what we're going to be doing. All these consoles that you've seen in the previous videos, if you've watched them, but then in addition to what we've seen before, we got some new stuff here. As far as what they're all set to, the 2X Pro is not capable of accepting a 480p native signal. So for consoles like the original Xbox or the Wii, it's set to 480i output from the console itself. Whereas with the Xbox to the 5X Pro, I want to kind of showcase what it can do at best. So that's actually going to be a 720p example from the Xbox. Additionally, with the Wii, it's a 480p signal running to the 5X Pro in those examples. But everything else will be just kind of the baseline output. And if there's a different sampling mode that I've used, I'll notate it during the footage. But let's check out all this stuff now. We'll see how they compare at the end. I'll kind of go over some highlights once we're done watching all the footage.
Okie dokie.
Dear Mario, please come to the castle. I have baked a cake for you. Yours truly, Princess Toadstool. Peach.
Hello. Okie dokie.
Dear Mario, please come to the castle. I have baked a cake for you. Yours truly, Princess Toadstool. Peach.
Is it working, Professor?
Almost. Just a few more adjustments to these orbs and...
Maybe this isn't such a good idea. Bringing a dragon here could just make Ripto angrier.
Calm down, Hunter, and stop fidgeting.
But you saw the professor's book. They have claws like this, teeth like this, and they spit fire like this. Puh, puh. They sound much more dangerous than Ripto.
That's exactly the point. A dragon is our only chance of stopping Ripto, and you know it.
It's working! It's working! I've got a dragon! Whoa, rough landing. Hi, which way's the... beach? Hey, stop staring. Haven't you guys ever seen a dragon before?
You're a dragon?
You got a problem with that, pussycat?
Well, someone forgot to invite me to the party. Were you trying to keep something from me? A dragon? You brought a dragon to Avalar? I hate dragons! Ah! Ow! Crush! Kill it! Kill it! Go! You imbecile! You ate my scepter! I'll deal with you later!
Who is that jerk?
That was Ripto, and we have to get rid of him. He's causing all sorts of trouble around here, but I haven't got time to explain. Here, take this magic guide to Avalar. It'll help you begin to understand our worlds. Right now, I have to follow Ripto and see what he's up to. I'll meet you in Summer Forest, okay?
Hey, wait a minute! How do we get ourselves into these messes, pal?
Sigma Alpha 2 heading due south over the city. We're en route. Everyth's a go.
This is Control Tower. We have you on radar. Report cargo status of captured Hedgehog aboard. Over.
That's a 10-4. Cargo secured on board and... What?
Didn't copy that. Over.
Gone. He's taken out everyone aboard and...
What's
What
wrong?
in the
Come
world?
in. Over.
Freeze! What do you think you're doing? Get that Hedgehog!
Talk about low-budget flights, no food or movies. I'm out of here. I like running better.
Attention all units. Suspect seen heading south. Block all major roads and capture the suspect.
Sigma Alpha 2 heading due south over the city. We're en route. Everything's a go.
This is Control Tower. We have you on radar. Report cargo status of captured Hedgehog aboard. Over.
That's a 10-4. Cargo secured on board and... What?
Didn't
The
copy
Hedgehog
that.
is
Over.
gone. He's taken out everyone aboard and...
What's
What
wrong?
in the
Come
world?
in. Over.
Freeze! What do you think you're doing? Get that Hedgehog!
Talk about low-budget flights, no food or movies. I'm out of here. I like running better.
Attention all units. Suspect seen heading south. Block all major roads and capture the suspect.
Sigma Alpha 2 heading due south over the city. We're en route. Everything's a go.
This is Control Tower. We have you on radar. Report cargo status of captured Hedgehog aboard. Over.
That's a 10-4. Cargo secured on board and... What? The
Didn't copy
Hedgehog
that.
is
Over.
gone. Taking out everyone aboard and...
What's
What
wrong?
in the
Come
world?
in. Over.
Freeze! What do you think you're doing? Get that Hedgehog!
Talk about low-budget flights, no food or movies. I'm out of here. I like running better.
Attention all units. Suspect seen heading south. Block all major roads and capture the suspect.
I have spent my life searching for the answers that my father and my father's fathers failed to find. Who were the precursors? Why did they create the vast monoliths that litter our planet? How did they harness eco, the life energy of the world? What was their purpose? And why did they vanish? I have asked the plants, but they do not remember. The plants have asked the rocks, but the rocks do not recall. Even the rocks do not recall. Every bone in my body tells me that the answers rest on the shoulders of a young boy. Oblivious to his destiny, uninterested in the search for truth, and rejecting of my guidance. And why would he want to listen to old Samus the Sage anyway? I'm only the master of green eco, one of the wisest men on the planet. So it seems the answer begins not with careful research or sensible thinking. Nay, as with many of fate's mysteries, it begins with but a small act of disobedience.
Hey! Jack, old green stuff told us not to come here.
Continue your search for artifacts and eco. If the locals possess precursor items, you know what to do.
Deal harshly with anybody who strays from the village. We will attack it in due time.
What are we doing here anyway, Jack? This place gives me the creeps. Huh? Oh, stupid precursor junk. Eek! What is that dark ooze? It sure don't look friendly. The sage yaps on about the precursors that built this place all the time. Where did they go? Why did they build this crud? Now, I like precursor orbs and power cells as much as the next guy. But if you ask me, they must have been real losers. Wow! How did you do that? I think we're in trouble! Man, that stung! we shouldn't have come here, and you listened. What? Okay. I'm fine.
What in green tarnation do you two want?
I was...
Don't tell me! Instead of heeding my wisdom, the two of you went mucking around in the only place that I told you not to go. Misty Island.
That's right, and then...
And, Daxter, you finally took a much-needed bath, but in a bathtub filled with dark eco.
Look, old man, are you gonna keep yapping, or are you gonna help me out of this mess?
I'm gonna keep yapping, because in my professional opinion, the change is an improvement. And besides, I couldn't help you if I wanted to.
What?
There's only one person who has studied Dark Eco long enough to have a chance at returning you to your previous form. Carl Acheron, the Sage. But he lives far to the north. Far, far to the north. Nobody has spoken to him in ages. I would teleport you there, but I can't do that either. None of the three sages that maintain the other teleporter gates have seen fit to turn their ends on for quite a while. The only other way north is by foot through the Fire Canyon, but its volcanic soil is hot enough to melt precursor metal. You can't just walk through it.
But you could fly over it if you had a zoomer equipped with a heat shield. I just happen to be working on such a thing at this very moment. All I would need is 20 power cells to give it enough energy to withstand the canyon's heat. Isn't that right, Daddy?
Yes, Kira, that might work. But where are a boy and a half going to get 20 power cells?
From the villagers. Most of them have a power cell or two stashed away somewhere. And even if they aren't willing to just give them away, greasing their palms with a few precursor orbs should do the trick. And I bet there are even more of them out in the wilds just waiting for some brave adventurer to find.
Well, we've got the brave adventurer at least.
Brave adventurer? You two couldn't find your way out of the village without training. Before you do anything else, you better go through the warp gate and get some practice on Geyser Rock.
We won't find any more of that dark gooey eco stuff, will we? 'Cause I'd hate to fall in again and turn into you.
Get in there before I turn you both into ferns.
As they say in acting, break a leg.
Hey, go back to Kentucky, farm boy. Locals only.
Let me guess. You're not from here.
You got a problem with that? It looked that obvious, huh?
Mindy. And yes, you do. Listen, if you want to blend in a little better, you gotta lose that look. Come here. I'll show you a few places you should check out. Okay, here's the deal. In Hollywood, there's a clothing surplus store, a skate shop, and a barber shop. Considering you look like a country bumpkin, you might want to check them out. We'll see after you fix that do and change those clothes. Like a country bumpkin.
Home sweet home. What a dump. At least it has some killer spots. The old pool down by the high school, Scabland, the drainage ditch on the south side of town, and Elm Street, our own little strip of paradise, complete with drug dealers who hate skateboarders.
Okay, so what are our thoughts? Well, the first thing worth mentioning is that this is what I would consider to be very subjective content, because we're in this territory of quality and processing and all kinds of stuff that was not originally intended when these consoles came out. So as far as like what these devices make it look like, I think whatever you think looks best is what's right for you. I don't think that there is a right answer for any of this stuff. That said, here are my opinions. I feel like for a lot of the content there, the 5X Pro always has an edge of clarity to it over the 2X Pro. And on its own, the 2X Pro is great. Just like on its own for a lot of stuff, the really basic $15 AV to HDMI was great when I compared those devices. So bottom line is, if you had like one of these in front of you, you'd be very satisfied with it. When we start to push into those like higher end cable types, we can see the differences and the benefit that those start to provide. Like, it starts to get very, very impressive picture quality in terms of clarity and whatnot. I really like what happens on both consoles when you feed component from Super Nintendo, component from Genesis, stuff like that. And PlayStation 1 also on both devices looks great. Like, I don't think one really wins there. They're both just like equally good. I was very impressed by that. I was kind of surprised, but that's really cool. The thing about that though is that to get that kind of quality out of the PlayStation 1 to the 2X Pro, that required getting a shielded Scart cable, running that into the RGB2COMP Transcoder that RetroTINK makes, getting an HD Retrovision component cable, running that to the 2X Pro. So at that point, like, you've paid like a lot. Like, that's easily 140 something bucks worth of equipment right there. So price wise might not make sense for a lot of people. Looking back into previous comparisons, the composite performance of the PlayStation 1 to the 2X Pro was alright. And I believe you can get S-Video cables for the PlayStation 1 if you were looking to up that one. For consoles like the PlayStation 2, although the 5X Pro has the better like clarity to it, I prefer the 2X Pro's methods of kind of softening everything and how everything looks. That's just me. So I really much preferred the 2X Pro on PlayStation 2 running Component specifically. I just like what it does to the image. For other consoles, though, it's like I said at the beginning, I think the 5X Pro just maintains this level of clarity above what the 2X Pro has to offer. And it's very clear when you start, even with better cables, like whether it be Super Nintendo or GameCube, there's just like this clarity difference on what you're seeing. For the N64, though, I mean, they're almost like it's really hard to tell. Like I keep saying that I like the 2X Pro's N64 performance better, but then like I see them side by side now, and I'm like, now I don't know. They're really similar, but like it's so tough. I think I like overall what's happening with the intensity of the colors on the 2X Pro, although it does make Mario look like he's got like issues with his liver failing, like I've said before. The other colors, though, in like the regular game outside of that menu look pretty great, and like clarity wise, I think the 2X Pro may not be as good as the 5X Pro, but it's just really hard to tell. And after YouTube compresses it when this video goes live, it'll probably even harder to tell, if not impossible. So hard to say there. But either way, I guess you'd be happy with it, because the image is certainly better than it would be if you weren't using a device like these at all. As far as the differences in the devices themselves, as I said at the beginning, the 5X Pro has a ton to offer. I mean, that's why it costs what it does. There's so much more that it can do with the image that the 2X Pro can't do, that makes it a much better device overall. There is a middle ground here for some of these consoles, like the Wii, which the 2X Pro didn't really do too great with, although by itself it's pretty good. You can tell what the benefit of 480p really is there. The middle ground is the 2X Pro multi-format, which I've talked about on the channel before. That device is able to accept a 480p native input and then pass it through, and it looks really good, especially for consoles like the Wii. The problem is that device is like discontinued. Maybe it'll come back, I don't know, but it's kind of gone for now, which is why I haven't been talking about it much, because I don't want to like build up a bunch of like jazz for it, only for like no one to be able to get it. But know that there is that middle device there that produces a very satisfying image for devices like the original Xbox, the PlayStation 2 running 480p, or the Wii running 480p. It's intended for that kind of generation of devices. Overall, though, both devices are very good. You'd definitely be happy with either one. I hope this video has showcased what more the 5X Pro is capable of doing. Thank you so much for joining me on this one. If you found the video helpful or informative, feel free to subscribe. It is the best way to help me grow the channel. We got a lot going on the channel, by the way. There's those other comparison videos I referenced at the beginning of the video. In addition to that, we got tons of fun gameplay stuff with Retro Boost Arcade. We're getting back into Luigi's Mansion. The rest of that series is going live. Would have gone live actually as of today that I'm filming this. So check that out. I'll put a link in the video here. But thank you so much for watching. Have a good rest of your day.